Have you ever felt like the more someone tells you to do something, the less you want to do it? That frustrated feeling of being controlled is something we can all relate to. But what if you could use that predictable reaction to your advantage? Welcome to the world of reverse psychology. In this video, I'll be breaking down how you can harness the power of reverse psychology to benefit your life, your relationships, and your personal growth. We'll look at examples from the Stoic philosophy of Marcus Aurelius to see how this tactic has been wisely used for centuries. Stick around as we explore when to use reverse psychology, how to employ it skillfully, and the surprising ways it can motivate positive change. Once you understand the psychology behind this phenomenon, you'll be able to use it to help, not hinder, your goals and those around you. Number 1. Promote self-governance. One of the key principles of Stoicism, as taught by the great philosopher Emperor Marcus Aurelius, is the importance of self-governance and making decisions based on our own wisdom and reason. And believe it or not, the psychological technique of reverse psychology can actually be a powerful tool for promoting this very Stoic ideal. Picture this. You're talking with a friend who's facing a tough choice. Now you could simply tell them what you think they should do, but will that really inspire them to think for themselves? Probably not. Instead, what if you used a little reverse psychology? What if you challenged them, saying something like, "You're right, that decision is probably too difficult for you to make on your own. You should just let others choose for you." Suddenly, by suggesting they can't think independently, you're actually motivating them to do the opposite and prove you wrong. They'll feel driven to carefully consider their options and make their own reasoned choice, not just blindly follow someone else's advice. And that embodies the Stoic virtues of wisdom and independent thinking beautifully. As Marcus Aurelius himself put it, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By using reverse psychology to subtly encourage others to govern their own minds and actions, we're empowering them to find that inner strength and wisdom the Stoics prized so highly. We're guiding them not just to make one good decision, but to become better, more independently minded thinkers overall. Number 2. Cultivate patience and fortitude. Let's face it, in life we all encounter resistance and obstacles from time to time. Whether it's a skeptical colleague questioning our ideas or our own inner doubts holding us back, it's easy to get frustrated and lose patience when things aren't going smoothly. But what if I told you that reverse psychology can be a secret weapon for overcoming these challenges and cultivating the Stoic virtues of patience and fortitude? Imagine you're working on a project and you hit a roadblock. Doubts start to creep in and you find yourself thinking, "Maybe this is too hard. Maybe I should just give up." But then, you remember the power of reverse psychology. Instead of letting those negative thoughts control you, you flip the script and tell yourself, "You know what? You're right. This is too hard. I guess I'm just not cut out for this." Suddenly, a fire ignites inside you. Your inner Stoic warrior rises up and declares, "Oh yeah? Watch me." By challenging yourself with a bit of reverse psychology, you've turned that resistance into fuel for your determination. You dig deep, summon your patience and fortitude, and push forward with renewed commitment. As the great Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." When we're faced with frustrations and setbacks, it's all too easy to lose our cool and react impulsively. But by using reverse psychology on ourselves, we can create that crucial moment of delay, a space in which to take a deep breath, gather our patience, and respond with the steady fortitude of a true Stoic. And here's the beautiful thing. By practicing this technique ourselves, we can also model it for others. When we see someone else struggling with resistance or opposition, we can use a gentle form of reverse psychology to help them reframe the situation and tap into their own reserves of patience and strength. For example, imagine a friend is nervous about a big presentation and starts doubting themselves. You might say something like, "You're right, it's a tough audience, they'll probably tear your ideas apart. Maybe it's best to play it safe and not even try." By voicing their fears in an exaggerated way, you're subtly challenging your friend to prove those fears wrong, to rise to the occasion with stoic courage and determination. Number 3, stimulate virtuous competition. As Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius recognized, we all have vast reserves of untapped potential within us. But sometimes, we need a little extra motivation to fully develop and express that potential. This is where the strategic use of reverse psychology can work wonders. Picture this scenario. You have a friend who's incredibly talented at writing, but they're hesitant to share their work publicly. They're afraid of criticism and doubt their abilities. Now you could try to convince them of their talent by showering them with compliments. But sometimes, a little reverse psychology can be far more effective. Imagine saying something like this to your friend. You know you're probably right to keep your writing private. After all, putting your work out there is really challenging. Most people can't handle the pressure of outside opinions and potential rejection. By framing the situation this way, you're not criticizing your friend. You're actually challenging them. You're subtly suggesting that maybe they don't have what it takes to brave the difficulties of sharing their writing. And for many people, this kind of gentle provocation can spark a powerful response. Your friend's inner competitor emerges, and they think, "Oh yeah, I'll show you. I can handle criticism and prove my writing skills to the world." Suddenly, they're motivated to rise to the challenge, push past their fears, and take their writing to the next level. They're fired up to develop their talents and prove their capabilities, not just to you, but to themselves. This is the beauty of what we might call virtuous competition. By using reverse psychology to challenge someone, we're not trying to put them down or discourage them. On the contrary, we're appealing to their sense of pride, their desire for growth and achievement. We're daring them to be their best selves and fulfill their true potential. Number 4, teach through challenge. One of the most powerful ways we can help others grow and develop is by challenging them to take on new responsibilities. But sometimes, people can be hesitant to step up, even when they're fully capable. This is where a little reverse psychology can come in handy. Imagine you're a mentor to a young professional who has a lot of potential, but they're shy about taking on leadership roles. They've been offered the chance to lead a big project, but they're unsure if they're ready for the responsibility. Now, you could try to convince them by saying all the usual things. "You're so talented, of course you can do this." But sometimes, this kind of direct encouragement can fall flat. The person may feel like you're just trying to be nice rather than truly believing in their abilities. Instead, what if you used a bit of reverse psychology? You might say something like, "You know, it's probably good that you're hesitant about taking on this project. It's a lot of responsibility, and honestly, not everyone is cut out for leadership roles like this. It takes a special kind of person to handle that pressure." By framing it this way, you're not directly telling them they can't do it, but you are subtly challenging them. You're suggesting that maybe they don't have what it takes, that leadership is only for a select few. And for many people, this kind of challenge can be incredibly motivating. Suddenly, your mentee starts to think, "Wait a minute, I am capable of this. I have the skills and the drive to be a great leader. I'll show everyone what I can do." They're fired up to take on the project and prove their abilities, not just to you, but to themselves. This is the power of teaching through challenge. By using reverse psychology to suggest someone might not be ready for a responsibility, we're actually encouraging them to rise to the occasion and demonstrate their true capabilities. We're daring them to grow, to stretch beyond their comfort zones, and to embrace the Stoic virtue of responsibility. As the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "Circumstances don't make the man, they only reveal him to himself." By challenging others with reverse psychology, we're giving them the opportunity. Number 5, encourage rational thinking. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is a deep respect for reason, logic, and rational thinking. The Stoics believe that by applying our minds and thinking critically about problems, we can arrive at wise solutions and live more effectively. And believe it or not, reverse psychology can be a powerful tool for encouraging this kind of rational problem solving. Imagine you're working with a colleague who's stuck on a complex problem at work. They've been going around in circles, getting more and more frustrated, and they just can't seem to find a good solution. Now you could just tell them what you think they should do. But will that really help them develop their own problem-solving skills? Probably not. Instead, what if you used a little reverse psychology? You might say something like, I can see why this problem is giving you so much trouble. It's probably best to just go with the first solution that comes to mind, even if it's not perfect. Overthinking it will just make it harder. By suggesting a less effective approach, you're not actually trying to lead your colleague astray. Instead, you're challenging them to think more critically about the problem. You're subtly prompting them to question whether the easy, obvious solution is really the best one. And often, this kind of challenge can spark a breakthrough in thinking. Your colleague might respond with something like, "No, wait a minute, that's not right. I need to look at this from a different angle and really analyze all the options before deciding." Suddenly, they're thinking more rationally and methodically about the problem. They're breaking it down, examining it from all sides, and applying logic to find the best solution, just like a true Stoic would. By using reverse psychology to propose a less optimal solution, you've encouraged your colleague to engage in the kind of critical thinking and rational analysis that's at the heart of Stoic philosophy. You've helped them develop their own problem-solving skills and arrive at a wiser, more thoughtful decision. Number 6. Foster creative wisdom. The Stoic philosophers were not only known for their logical, rational thinking, but also for their ability to find creative, adaptive solutions to life's challenges. They understood that true wisdom often lies in thinking outside the box and being open to unexpected possibilities. And one surprising tool for fostering this kind of creative wisdom is the art of reverse psychology. Imagine you're mentoring a young entrepreneur who's trying to come up with a unique business idea. They've been brainstorming for weeks, but everything they come up with feels predictable and ordinary. They're stuck in a rut and can't seem to break free of conventional thinking. This is where a little reverse psychology can work wonders. Instead of just encouraging them to think creatively, which can feel like vague and unhelpful advice, what if you challenged them with a counterintuitive suggestion? You might say something like, maybe the safe traditional approach is the way to go. Just do what everyone else is doing. After all, that's what's proven to work. No need to reinvent the wheel, right? By advocating for the very thing you want them to avoid, in this case unoriginal, conventional thinking, you're subtly challenging them to do the opposite. You're provoking them to rebel against the status quo and prove you wrong. And often, this kind of reverse psychology can unlock a flood of creative energy. Your mentee might respond with something like, "No way, I don't want to be just another cookie-cutter business. I need to find a truly original idea, something that goes against the grain and solves problems in a whole new way." Suddenly they're fired up to think differently, to question assumptions, and to explore uncharted territory. Exactly the kind of creative, adaptive thinking that the Stoics prized. As Seneca once wrote, "Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body." By using reverse psychology to encourage someone to think or act contrary to expectations, we're creating a kind of mental difficulty that can strengthen their creative muscles and build their adaptive wisdom. We're daring them to break free of limiting patterns, to embrace the unexpected, and to find innovative solutions that others might overlook. And in doing so, we're helping them develop the kind of flexible, resourceful mindset that's invaluable in navigating life's complexities. Of course, as with all forms of reverse psychology, it's important to use this technique with care and discernment. The goal is never to manipulate or deceive, but rather to lovingly challenge and inspire. Number 7. Manage emotional reactions. One of the central tenets of Stoic philosophy is the importance of maintaining inner calm and equanimity in the face of life's ups and downs. The Stoics understood that while we can't always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond to it. And believe it or not, the art of reverse psychology can be a surprisingly effective tool for managing our emotional reactions and fostering a sense of Stoic tranquility. Imagine you're about to go into a high-stakes job interview. You've been preparing for weeks, but you're still incredibly nervous. Your mind is racing with all the things that could go wrong, and you're worried that your anxiety will sabotage your performance. In a situation like this, trying to force yourself to feel calm and confident often doesn't work. The more you tell yourself, "Don't be nervous," the more nervous you tend to feel. But what if you used a little reverse psychology on yourself? What if instead of trying to suppress your anxiety, you actually embraced it and even amplified it in your mind? You might say to yourself something like, "I'm probably going to bomb this interview. They'll ask me questions I can't answer, and I'll freeze up and make a fool of myself. It's going to be a total disaster." Now, on the surface, this might seem like a counterproductive way to think. But by exaggerating your worries and envisioning the worst-case scenario, you're actually doing something very powerful. You're preparing your mind for any outcome. You're acknowledging your fears and giving them a voice, rather than trying to ignore or fight them. And paradoxically, this can often have the effect of reducing their power over you. When you walk into that interview, you're no longer caught off guard by your nerves. You've already faced the worst in your mind, so whatever happens, you know you can handle it. And this can give you a tremendous sense of calm and resilience, the very qualities the Stoics prized so highly. As Marcus Aurelius put it, begin each day by telling yourself, "Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness." By mentally preparing for difficulties, he was able to meet them with equanimity and grace. And this is where reverse psychology can be such a valuable emotional tool. By intentionally envisioning and even embracing potential negative outcomes, we rob them of their power to unsettle us. We train our minds to be ready for anything, so that we can respond with the calm, rational wisdom of a true Stoic. Of course, this doesn't mean wallowing in negativity or pessimism. The goal is not to dwell on worst-case scenarios, but simply to acknowledge them as possibilities, so that we're not caught off guard if they do occur. Number 8. Enhance interpersonal harmony. Stoicism encourages treating others with respect and maintaining inner balance in relationships. Playful reverse psychology can be a surprising tool for promoting this harmony. If a friend is always late, instead of getting frustrated, try lightheartedly saying, "Let's meet at 7 p.m., but I should probably tell everyone else 8 p.m. This acknowledges the issue without judgment and subtly challenges them to be on time. The key is to approach the situation with humor and respect for their autonomy. You're not forcing change, but inviting them to consider their impact and make a different choice. This Stoic interpersonal wisdom addresses challenges through compassionate engagement, not coercion. It creates space for positive change while maintaining warmth and respect. Of course, reverse psychology isn't a solution for every problem, but for everyday frictions, it can be surprisingly effective. By noting problematic patterns with humor and inviting growth, you embody the Stoic ideal of being strict with ourselves and tolerant of others. You move your relationship towards greater balance and joy. So next time you're frustrated with a loved one's behavior, try a touch of Stoic reverse psychology. Approach it with compassion and an invitation to grow, and watch your relationship thrive. Number 9. Strategic indifference. Stoicism teaches indifference to external outcomes, focusing instead on our own actions and character. Interestingly, strategically displaying this indifference in negotiations can lead to more favorable results. Imagine you're negotiating a salary for a new job. Instead of appearing eager or desperate, maintain a calm demeanor and communicate that while the job interests you, you have other options and won't accept unfair terms. This indifference conveys confidence and self-respect. It shows you value your skills and won't be swayed by pressuring tactics. Paradoxically, this often makes the other party more likely to offer better terms to secure your talents. The key is to be genuinely willing to walk away if the deal isn't right. This is true Stoic indifference, not a ploy, but a sincere commitment to your principles and self-worth. As Epictetus said, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but rather wish for events to happen as they do, and your life will go smoothly." By focusing on your own actions and character, not just outcomes, you free yourself from neediness in negotiations. This isn't about playing games or manipulation. It's about embodying the Stoic ideal of self-sovereignty. When you know your worth and are willing to stand by it calmly, others naturally respect and value you more. Of course, there may be times when displaying indifference isn't appropriate, like when discussing deeply held values. Wisdom is key, but in many situations, a touch of Stoic strategic indifference can lead to dealings that are more balanced, respectful, and rewarding for all. It's a principled way to negotiate, not just for better results, but for greater tranquility and self-mastery. Number 10. Alleviate anxiety through detachment. Imagine you're mentoring someone who's terrified of failing at an upcoming project. They're paralyzed by anxiety, convinced that failure will be catastrophic. In this situation, try reframing failure as a learning opportunity. You might say, even if this project doesn't succeed, that's okay. What matters is that you give it your best effort. Failure is just a chance to learn and grow. By presenting failure as acceptable, even valuable, you're giving them permission to detach from the outcome. You're shifting their focus to factors within their control, their effort, integrity, and resilience. This is the essence of Stoic wisdom. As Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that things are difficult." By daring to view failure as acceptable, we diminish its power to intimidate us. This approach isn't about promoting carelessness or low standards. It's about cultivating a healthier relationship with failure. When we're not paralyzed by fear, we're free to give our best effort and learn from the results, whatever they may be. Of course, this perspective is easier to maintain when the stakes are low. In high-stakes situations, professional guidance may be needed to manage anxiety. But for many everyday challenges, a dose of Stoic detachment can be remarkably freeing. Number 11. Provoke engagement and learning. By suggesting that the concept is challenging, you're not insulting their intelligence. You're inviting them to rise to the challenge. You're provoking their curiosity and desire to prove their understanding. This approach can motivate them to engage more fully, to ask questions, ponder implications, and test their comprehension. They're no longer passive recipients, but active participants in their own learning journey. As Epictetus said, it is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows. By challenging their existing understanding, you're creating space for new insights and growth. This mirrors the Stoic emphasis on humility and openness to learning. Stoics recognize that knowledge is vast and our understanding always incomplete. By embracing intellectual challenges, we embody this spirit of humble inquiry. Of course, challenges should be offered constructively, not combatively. The goal is to inspire deeper engagement, not to embarrass or discourage. When wielded with care and respect, a little reverse psychology can be a powerful tool for Stoic education. By challenging understanding, we provoke people to take ownership of their learning. We inspire them to question, ponder, and grow, not just in knowledge, but in intellectual virtue. So next time you're sharing wisdom, consider adding a small challenge. Suggest that the concept is tricky or often misunderstood. Then watch as your audience leans in, grapples, and grows. That's the power of provocation in service of Stoic learning and self-improvement. Number 12. Encourage virtuous behavior. The Stoics believed that true virtue comes from within, from our own reasoned choice to live with integrity. But sometimes, our efforts to encourage others toward virtue can fall flat. In these cases, a paradoxical approach, suggesting the opposite of what we want, can be surprisingly effective. Imagine a friend is considering lying to get out of a commitment. You've tried directly advising honesty, but they're still tempted to deceive. In this case, you might try saying, "Well, I guess lying is the easy way out. It's not like integrity really matters that much anyway, right?" By sarcastically suggesting that deceit is acceptable, you're not actually condoning it. You're holding up a mirror to the behavior. prompting your friend to confront its implications. Often, this can spark an internal realization. Your friend might think, "No, that's not right. Integrity does matter. I don't want to be someone who lies for convenience." By coming to this conclusion themselves, their commitment to honesty is strengthened. They're not just following your advice, but exercising their own moral judgment. This aligns with the Stoic emphasis on self-reflection and autonomous virtue. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always spring up if thou wilt always look." By encouraging this inward gaze, even through reverse psychology, you're fostering your friend's capacity for independent moral reasoning. You're empowering them to live by their own virtuous principles. Of course, this approach requires wisdom and care. It's not about manipulating others, but about skillfully encouraging self-reflection. The goal is always to support, not undermine, their moral agency. Used judiciously, this form of reverse psychology can be a powerful tool for Stoic moral encouragement. By subtly highlighting the problems with vice, we can inspire others to consciously choose virtue, not because we told them to, but because they recognize it as right. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this video on using reverse psychology to your benefit informative. If you enjoyed it, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a future upload. Your support really helps me keep making content like this to help you live a happier, more intentional life. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll dive deeper into more Stoic wisdom from Marcus Aurelius. Until then, may you all find peace and serenity in the Stoic ways.